Welcome back to week 2 of the 2024 Carl Albert High School Coaches Show. We've got Mike Dunn again, and Coach Dunn, you came off a 49-0 victory over the Midwest City Bombers, so you've got to feel good about that.
Yeah. Anytime your guys go out and play really well and play with great effort, you got to feel good about it as a coach. We talked to our guys a bunch about being the most physical team on that Friday night, and I think we definitely did that. We talked about taking care of the ball. We did that. I think we won the turnover battle. We were +3 on that. And we talked about limited mistakes, and so I think we did a lot of that as well. We had some penalties that I think we need to clean up, and I think we will clean it up. But all in all, it was a really good night for the Titans.
Yeah, so as you look at the stats, I mean, after a game, you can look at the stats. Before a game really doesn't matter much, but
Right.
After the game, I think you put up 413 yards on offense, and that's with, everybody's been saying it, you got this brand new offensive line, but you just did the right thing. So can you tell us a little bit more about that? Offensive output was pretty amazing in a first game.
Right, yeah. And our offensive line, if you watch that game, after watching the film, it just got better and better throughout the game. Early on, and a lot of credit to Midwest City, their defensive line, really good, really active. They've got some really explosive players up front, and linebackers are really good. And so, they slowed us down a little bit early on, and that was a testament to them. But our offensive line just kept churning away. And by the time we got to the second half, I feel like some of those runs that were, 8 or 9 yards or, 4 or 5 yards early on started turning into bigger rips. And then we had, a few big runs there in the second half, big plays by LT, by Dan, by sophomore Elijah Matthews. But we were really proud of our offensive line. We've got 2 or 3 sophomores and juniors up there, with Cody Volker being the one stalwart there back from last year. But they just got better and better throughout the game, and that was something we really wanted to see. We knew that there would be mistakes. We knew that we would make some sophomore mistakes, and we did make a couple. But those guys, it didn't faze them. They overcame some penalties. They got better and better throughout the night, and the whole night though they played physical and gave everything they got. And if you're going to be good up front, it starts right there. So
That's right.
I was really proud of those guys.
And it is a progression. I mean, they're gonna learn more every single game. So switch over to the other side of the ball, and then we'll kind of move on from there. But you held Midwest City to under 100 yards, 99 yards on the night. So you've got to be proud of your defense.
Yeah. I thought our defensive effort was really, really good. Our guys, they always fly around. If you don't fly around, you're not going to be on our defense. And I think our guys understand that, and they practice that way, and they know the tradition of the death squad, and they take that to heart, and they take it serious. And so I thought all night long that we played with great fire, great intensity, and there was a lot of passion out there. And our kids, they played off of each other too. It wasn't just one guy. When you look at the stat line, we had multiple guys that were all right around 7 to 10 tackles. Even defensive linemen. We had a couple of defensive linemen that had those numbers, 7 or 8 tackles, and a couple forced fumbles up front. But all of our defensive guys can run, and we don't have a guy on our group that's not explosive. And so I think that showed the other night. We take pride that when the ball's in the air, we're going to run to the football. If it's a pass, we're going to get to the football, whether we're playing zone or man or whatever it is. I think that's the sign of a good defense. Defenses that react when the ball is in the air, And so I thought our DBs played lights out. I think they had 1 completion for 3 yards, maybe.
Yep, that's what it was.
And so DBs played lights out. We had an interception, DeAndre Dukes, big play there, and even special teams wise, getting the ball back after that. Our punt team has a lot of our defensive starters on it. And getting that muff punt, getting on it, and getting the ball back, going scored. I think kind of busted it wide open there. But no, all in all, defensively, I was really proud of the effort. Our guys, they'll continue to get better and better, and they're going to continue to play the game the way it's supposed to be played, and that's kind of a trademark of Carl Albert football and death squad defense.
Right. Okay, so you're starting out. You've got a good win. You've got to bring the guys back off of a pretty good high. 49-0 is a pretty good high, but you've got a short week to work with. So are they dialed in this week, getting ready to go tomorrow night?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had 2 really good practices so far. On a week like this, you get your 2 big ones Monday and Tuesday only. Usually, you get your your Monday, and then you get your two big Tuesday and Wednesdays, you know, and then you get your run through Thursday, which, you know, this week we don't get that extra
Right.
day, but our two practices have put us in a good spot to go be successful. I feel like our guys are dialed in, and we've worked on us just as much as we've worked on Lot and Ike this week, and cleaning up some of the things that we messed up the other night. But our practice have been good, you know, and then we've got our run through today, and we're probably a little bit different than most people. Our run through it's just that, it's a run through. We don't do a walk through practice. We don't do a light practice. You know, we'll go out there and we're going to get everything in that we get in every single week. You know, we're gonna work every scenario, special teams wise. We're going to go through a couple of team scripts offensively and a couple team scripts defensively. We're going to work 2-minute drill. We're going to work goal line stuff on both sides of the ball, and you know, we'll be prepared. That's one thing that I can say week in, week out. Our kids are going to be prepared, and our coaches are going to be prepared for whatever challenge it is that's facing us that week.
All right, so we're going to go on the road down to Lawton and to Cameron Stadium there at the Cameron University, and we're taking on Lawton Eisenhower. Lawton Eisenhower is 1-1 right now. They won their first game against Lawton High, and that's a resurging team. They've got a new coach, and they're going to be better as the year goes on. And then they kind of took it on the chin there from Lawton MacArthur, and we saw them, you know, at the scrimmage, so we know what they've got. So how do you feel going into Lawton Eisenhower? Tell us a little bit about what you see there.
Yeah, so Lawton Ike is much improved, I would say. You know, I feel like I've been coaching against them forever. You know, every year I've been in Oklahoma, because even at Del City we played against them, and I feel like offensively this is their best group that they've had. Really talented running back, kid going, I think he's committed to Missouri, really good player. Can kind of do it all out there on the field. You know, their quarterback, I think, is a 3-year starter now. I know he started last year for him, number 2, and he's improved. He's a headsy football player. You can tell that he's a competitor. He's not afraid to go pull the ball down and run, and he can throw the ball well. And then kind of a 3-headed monster, they got number 10 as a receiver that plays for him. That's a solid football player, and he's played a lot of football for him. I remember him last year, and he was a good player last year as well. I think up front, they're as good as they've ever been on the offensive line.
They've got some size.
They're big, you know, and you can tell they're well coached. They do things in unison. They're together. They're blocking schemes. You can just tell there's a good plan there, and they're doing stuff that helps them to be successful. But kind of a stable of backs too. You know, number 1 is obviously their horse, but then number 5 is a good player. Number 3 plays a little bit back there. They've got a couple of different fullback types, number 7, number 18. And so they do a lot of different stuff, you know, personnel wise. They'll keep the same guys out there, but you might get 2 tight ends. You might get a tight end, a fullback. You might get empty. You might get, you know, 10 personnel, and it's all the same guys. And so that brings different kinds of challenges for you defensively. You know, you can't really make a perfect call. You know,
Right.
you've got to be sound in your base and make sure that you can kind of catch all with your base calls. So, you know, very good on that side. Defensively, they fly around. I feel like, you know, athletically, they're a lot like Midwest City up front. They're explosive. They're fast. You know, Coach Harris, their coach, he's a defensive guy at heart. You know, he was a defensive football player when he was at OU as a player. And you know, he's in I think this is year 3 for him.
I think that's right.
I think it's year 3, and Coach Harris, you know, they've gotten better and better every single year. And so, anytime you go to Cameron on a Thursday night, it's always a tough place to play. You know, Lawton, it's just a different beast there, and they're better at home than they are on the road, it seems like. And they're going to be ready. They're going to be ready for the challenge. You know, they played really well against Lawton. They've played there twice already at Cameron Stadium, so this is their 3rd game there. So, you know, they're accustomed to it obviously this year, but you know, I think they're going to be ready to roll, and they're going to want to get that bad taste out of their mouth that from the Lawton MacArthur game. But even in that one, they were in the game, you know, all the way until, you know, 3rd quarter, and it kind of snowballed on them. Just a couple bad things happened, and it just kind of rolled on them. But you know, it was a 21-20 game in the 3rd quarter before it really kind of broke open. And so they're going to be ready to go. They've got good players. They're well coached, and it's going to be a big challenge for us.
All right. Well, anything else you want to share as far as heading into week 2?
Well, we can talk about some of our players of the week from last week. Offensively, and you're going to get to hear from these two guys here in a little bit, but offensive player of the week was Daniel Newton. He had 5 touchdowns on the night. In his first game as a Carl Albert Titan, did really well. We were really proud of his effort. Defensively, defensive player of the week was a defensive lineman. I can't remember the last time that first game of the season a defensive lineman got it. It's hard to do because they don't get as many tackles usually. But
Right.
Nick Hill, his first game as a Titan, he had 7 tackles, had a forced fumble, and had a great game. And Nick played really explosive and flew around to the ball. Our special teams player of the week, one of our guys, 4-year starter, Ethan Spiewak, had 4 touchbacks. We got a tackle inside the 20 when we were kicking into the wind, so he helped flip the field all night long. Really proud of him. Our lineman of the week was our senior returner, Cody Volker. Graded out the highest. He graded out at 88%. And then our big hit. It's hard for a running back to get a big hit, but LT Simmons on pass protection, he stepped up, and one of Daniel's touchdowns he threw, he stepped up and he just laid a big lick on one of Midwest City's defensive linemen. Huge hit. And then Scout Team Players of the Week, which we tell our guys all the time, it's probably the most important award we give out weekly. And our Scout Team Player of the Weeks, we had 2. Seth Hightower is a guy that's a senior, first year in our program, and he every week he's doing something great for us in practice and helping us get ready. As a safety, a running back, whatever we ask him to do. And then sophomore, Darian Thomas, Smiley. Smiley does a lot of good stuff for us, and he's really close to being a guy that's going to be playing for us on Friday nights eventually. And so we're really proud of both of those guys, and they help that win be possible.
All right. Well, we're going to be at Cameron Stadium at kickoff time, 7 p.m., and that's tomorrow night. That's Thursday night, so make sure that you're aware of what's going on there. And we'll be back with you in just a minute on your 2024 Carl Albert Titan Coaches Show.
Welcome back to the 2024 Carl Albert Football Coaches Show. I'm excited and very honored to be able to introduce our next guest, and it was our Teacher of the Week here in the Carl Albert Football program, and this is Coach Tyler Turbyfield. Coach Turbyfield is in his first year back at Carl Albert. He's an alumni. He's a Carl Albert grad, class of 2006, and I got to coach Coach Turbyfield when he was in high school. I was an assistant here from 03 through 05, and so I got to coach him a couple years, and we're really proud and honored to have him back. So, Coach Turbyfield, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you've been these last few years.
I feel like I've been everywhere. When I started college, I didn't really know what I was going to do, so I jumped around a bunch and then kind of found my place in the pharmacy industry for a little while, and then started coaching at a middle school in Oklahoma City about 4 years ago. And fell in love with teaching, went back to school, got my degree, and now I'm home.
What are you teaching right now at Carl Albert?
Teaching Algebra 2.
Algebra 2,
Yeah.
nice. And so what does it feel like to be back at Carl Albert? I mean, it's been a while since you've been back here, but how does it feel to be back?
It has been a while. Not a whole lot has changed over at the main building, so it felt like just coming back home. All the hallways are painted the same, and all the rooms are in the same spot. So all we did was add that little freshman academy since I've been here. So it felt like coming home.
Right. Well, they say tradition never graduates.
Yeah.
And that's a thing that I love about Carl Albert is there's a lot of the same traditions and a lot of the same, culture that was here under Dr. Kirk that is now here under Miss Goggins. And I think the tradition continues by bringing back really good people like yourself. And we are very proud and honored to have you back here
Thank you.
as the teacher of the week and our first teacher of the week. Very proud to give you the big play chain for this week for teacher of the week.
All right.
That means you got to wear that.
Oh, yeah.
Always, you got to represent.
It's not as heavy as it looks, so that'll be all right.
Well, that's real gold and
Oh, yeah.
real bling. So, and then we've got a Carl Albert football pullover here that we wanted you to have and be able to rock at all the things that you're at and everything that you do. And that's another thing about Coach Turbyfield that I can say. We've only had about 3 weeks here this first part of school, and I see him at everything. He drives a bus for volleyball. He's gone to Coweta and done the overnight stays already with that group. He's at anything that we have here, home events, and he's helping us out there with our kickers. Coach Turbyfield was a kicker here and comes from a long line of Turbyfields that kicked and played for Carl Albert football, and so we are very, very honored to have him back in our building, and we really appreciate everything that you do for our kids and for the school.
Happy to be here.
All right, we will be back with our Players of the Week next on the 2024 Carl Albert Football Coaches Show.
Good times, there's gonna be good times, I know there's gonna be
work every day till we meet ends. I fi turn it up on the weekends. Boss a toast to your real friend. Tell me why you he running up all the money. Good time, eh? Good times, it's gonna be some good times. Man, we used to pull up and let them at that hood time. Remember I used to grab on that about that. Yeah, that walk up to me, she get that time. I don't have patience, baby. She gon' get on top of it, and she speed racing. We go wild walks up bedtime. She my boss like a grandson. Come here, baby. I let her write me my suggestions. Pop quiz, it's a pop quiz. All my money coming clean, you can't rock this. She gon' have feel like lost meal. Watch out, come to my lights like a reindeer. Me and Poppy on the same. My diamonds could never stand still. Where you going, can't come here. I'll always take you back for your come on, for good time, what's a body? Give me something long time. Me dream with you. Like crime, I make you see this song. Say what I did, bro. Good time, therefore I'm riding up like a stroller. I'm surviving, good. Let my body like the New York, and I'm coming. I'ma have a very good time. I swear to God, I can never sound a little shorty. She like all of her there is my phone that bully. I want you to pass it to thugger. Even in the summertime, me and Lil' Shawty cutter. I swear to God, I'm look at the struggle, baby. Nothing on like a usher. Yeah. I told her mama I don't like what my teeth do. I wanna control you like voodoo. I'm started streaming free on phone and doodloo. Every time I have a good time, do. Come on, good time, what's a body? Say you want give me something long time. Me dream with you, something like crime. I make you see this time. Good time, eh?
Welcome back to the Carl Albert Titan 2024 Coaches Show. And we have our players of the game here. Our defensive player of the game is Nick Hill, and our offensive player of the game is Dan Newton. And so, Nick, I'm going to come to you first and just ask you a couple of questions. And how did it feel being back on the field for the 2024 season?
Felt great. Felt great. It was playing next to my brothers. Felt really cool. Very excited to be out here. Yeah.
Okay, so you were involved. I mean, you were really involved in what was going on. Now, you hit a guy and the ball came loose and you actually ended up on top of that ball.
Yes, sir.
Is that your first time to get a fumble recovery in a high school game?
That might be my second. I think that was
Second
my second.
time.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about what that feels like.
So in the moment, just focusing, getting past the O lineman, getting to the quarterback, just getting the perfect tackle, going around him, getting the arm, just for technique, getting the arm back, getting the ball out. Everything happens very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But as it happens, you see the ball, you got to land on it.
All right.
Got to land on it.
Okay, so you talk about brotherhood.
Yes, sir.
And you're along a defensive line. You've got some great guys out there with you. Tell about their play as well.
So my defensive tackle, Kathan Perucci, great playing alongside him. Know the plays, know the formations, know what to do, when to move, when not to move. Having him play next to me, that helps out a lot. We have our defensive end.
Crazy Joe?
Joe.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Joe, he helps out a lot. Very fast, very aggressive, very explosive. He is, without him, things could go bad. But luckily we have him, and it goes very great.
Okay. So the defense held Midwest City to under 100 yards.
Yes, sir.
And I want to know, I want you to give me kind of the truth, the lowdown here, just exactly what it was. Did you really think that you were going to hold Midwest City to under 100 yards?
I did.
Okay.
Went to the game very prepared, watching film, going through huddle, just watching what they do, their formations, how they would be lined up, because they lined up extremely wide. And we knew that. We prepared for it, but they were actually way wider than we thought they would be.
Yeah.
We got in there, very prepared, very ready to go.
Okay. I was going to ask you about the split, so I'm glad you jumped into there.
Yes.
Because as I was calling the game, there were some times that I thought their tackle was a tight end. He was so far out.
I did as well.
And so
Yeah.
it seems like, and maybe you can share it with the people that are watching, it seems like that would give you more space to get through. But what are they doing on that keeps you?
So going through, trying to stay on your alignment, we were trying to stay on, and then it got to the point where we just had to change game plan completely. So originally, staying on your alignment, staying to the original game plan, it just doesn't work out as well when stuff like that they're just too wide. Mm-hmm. So we would have, I'm nose guard. I would be on my center. Sometimes he'd be gone, get off his butt, be ready. But the guard just so far out, you wouldn't think he would come down, but he comes down, gets you. It takes a minute for it to adjust to it, but
Right.
once we got adjusted, we got straight through it.
Okay. So what they're trying to do too, as well, is he's got enough space that he actually gets a running start on you.
He does.
So you've got to be prepared for that and use that momentum
Right.
to go past. So great job on Friday night,
Thank
and
you.
I'm so proud of you for being player of the game,
Thank
the
you.
defensive player of the game, and we just hope that you just keep adding those up.
Yes, sir.
So
I will.
all right. So over here we've got our quarterback and one of the quarterbacks, but you had a pretty magnificent night. 5 touchdowns, 3 of those on the ground. I will tell you that when I was making the call, I didn't let you get your third one from the 3-yard line. I backed you up to the 4-yard line so that I could have 3 touchdowns all from the 4-yard line. So anyway, it was fun watching you run. When you turn your head downhill, you're a pretty powerful runner. But you also had a great job with the arm and put it out there for 2 passing scores. Tell us about what your first game as a Titan felt like this year.
Yes, sir. It was very fun. I think it was a good experience, and I don't know. It was really fun. It was really fun. Like that first touchdown I scored as a Titan just felt different. I was very happy. And hearing the band is another thing. The band is really good. And I love hearing the band play music on Friday nights, and they have a really good band. We have a really good band. So it was a great experience.
Okay, so you enjoy Friday Night Lights then, right?
Yes, sir. I love Friday nights.
Okay, all right. So as you, one of the things that they may not know is that you are a commit to Air Force, and you've committed there at the quarterback position at Air Force. But a lot of people may not understand that that means that you're not just committing to go play football. You're actually committing to the Air Force Academy. And so you have to do that in the classroom, you have to do that in the community, and you have to do that on the football field as well, right?
Sure.
So we're very proud of you for that, and look forward to watching you in the future as you go on and make that commitment. So on Friday night, you're out there. You've got two D1 commits on either side of you. You've got just great ball players up and down in your skill positions. One of your touchdowns was to Jackson Webster. Can you kind of describe that for us?
Yes, sir. It was towards the end of the game. I think it was in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
We were driving down, and Midwest City played man the entire game, and they were pressed up in the on the boundary to Jackson, and it was actually a run play called, but I tapped him on a fade because I like our odds 1-on-1, and snapped the ball and threw it to him. He caught it and scored.
Yeah, it was a beautiful pass. It was right on the boundary, and just a beautiful pass down that left side. So as you continue forward, I know this is you generally are a runner.
Yes, sir.
And yet you almost evened it up the other night in regard to passing touchdowns and running touchdowns. So how do you see this playing out in the future? I mean, are you going to try to be as balanced as possible, or are you just going to put the head down and go?
I mean, I'm gonna do whatever the team needs me to do for us to win. But I mean, I got a lot of trust in my legs.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of trust in my legs.
Okay. Coach Johnson has talked about you and says you kind of have what it takes to be able to do it. He's your offensive coordinator, and you enjoy, I think, playing for Coach Johnson as well. And it seems to be a very good camaraderie going on there. He offers you the ability to do a lot of things. And how has that worked out? How have you enjoyed that relationship with Coach Johnson?
It's good. He's great. I love him. He's a good coach and a great offensive coordinator. He really knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. So the other night, there was an opportunity that came along. They kept pounding on the tunnel screen. And so made it look the same way, dropped it over the top. Beautiful throw, catch, and burned them on that. So as we continue forward, I'm just excited to see how much better all this does as your offensive line continues to mature. And they did a great job the other night at growing up. And Coach Dunn talked about that early on, was that as they continued to move throughout the game, the offensive line just got better and better. When that offensive line gets better and better, that's going to do what for you?
Just open it up.
Open it up. That's right. And so we're looking forward to seeing that and making that happen. Well, thank you both for being here on the Carl Albert Titan Coaches Show. Defensive player of the game, Nick Hill, and offensive player of the game, Daniel Newton. We're so happy to have them with us and look forward to seeing what you guys do the rest of the season. Let's go down to Lawton and take care of business.
Yes, sir.
We'll be back with you here in just a few moments on the Carl Albert Titan Coaches Show.
Do that kicker, Carl Albert Titan.
Oh, sauce it down, sauce it up. Do too much, ain't enough. Where you from? Throw it out. Going nuts, going down. Oh, sauce it down, sauce it up. Do too much, ain't enough. Every day I'm ballin', so you know I'm scoring. My fists are apart, my back is enormous. Keep hitting, this is the last one.
Welcome back to your Carl Albert Titan 2024 Coaches Show. Coach Dunn, you just saw the interview with the defensive player and the offensive player of the week. Two great young men.
Yeah.
It's great partly too because they're two great young men, but at the same time, you've got a whole team
Right.
of great young men.
Yeah, I'm probably sound like a broken record at this point, but I think something that you'll hear me say a lot this year is it's always nice when your best guys and your guys that are getting player of the game awards are also some of your hardest workers and some of your just overall great human beings, just good people first and foremost. With our expectation and our standard here, you really don't have a choice but to be a good human being, and I think that's probably what, I wouldn't say it separates us, but it's something that I think makes this place special is that we do have kids that they believe in doing things the right way. And around here, you'll hear us say the Titan way, and our kids, they buy into the Titan way and they do it the way that we ask them to do it and the way that's expected of them here. And those two guys are just another great example of guys doing it the Titan way. And you heard them. They're going to give their teammates credit. They're going to talk about their coaches. They're going to put other people in front of them, and it's all genuine. Our guys, they celebrate each other. They celebrate each other's successes, and those guys are no different.
Yep. So here we are. We're 1-0 and headed to Lawton, and excited to get this next game going and moving it along. And so this year we are in pursuit of number 19. We'll be back next week, next Wednesday, for your Carl Albert Titan 2024 Coaches Show.